the bear.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm digging it. Let's see what we do.
Woo.
And welcome back to Boss and the Bear. I'm Jocelyn the Boss.
And I'm the bear.
And we're playing Sonic Adventure. We just finished Gamma Story, which means we're all out of story modes. What could possibly happen now?
This is Gold Sonic, right?
It's a question mark.
What? Supersonic?
Supersonic.
Get it? Supersonic.
Sure. Supersonic Electron. I don't even know what's going on. So yeah, we're very close to the finale now. So it's like going to be a lot of cutscenes in this episode.
Woo! Remember, like, as we're getting closer to the end of Undertale, and it's like, oh, I'm so emotional. And this one, we're just like, oh, look, it's almost done.
Hooray.
Well,
I think that might be a running theme with us. Like, as I get to the end of my games, I'm going to be like, energy's going to be high. We're feeling pretty good about life. And as we get to the end of your games, it's going to be like,
yeah, because like
emotional drainage. Because the next game I'm making you play is Life is Strange.
Oh, goddamn. Shit. Fuck.
And, like, if you're not going to be an emotional wreck, I promise that I will be.
Right? Like, for me, emotionality, it's like a toss-up. It depends on how, like, dissociated I am that day. Because it could just be like, I feel nothing. This is beautiful, but I feel nothing. Or it could be like, no.
I learned this at a funeral that I was attending. That if I'm not the most upset person in the room, there's a good chance that I won't, like, show any signs of being upset. Like, if I'm not feeling it the strongest, then
it's just like
I'm able to turn it off for the sake of the other people that are feeling it stronger than I am.
Yeah.
And, like, there's complicated things about that, right?
Yeah.
You know? And we're just gonna be talking over these cutscenes. The island fell down. Knuckles doesn't know what's going on.
Do any of you, like, really care about the storyline of this game?
There's subtitles. Like,
right.
we got this note that's like, maybe we shouldn't talk over cutscenes. And I apologize to that person who's also dating me. But, like, I don't know. Sonic.
I feel like if there are games where we're, like, emotionally invested in the storyline, like Undertale, we were voice acting all of the cutscenes.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Because I was so invested,
like,
because
honestly,
I'd never played
like,
it before.
Undertale, we were kind of light on the jokes, because we were letting the jokes of the game kind of come through. Here, we're having conversations. This is us hanging out, playing a game. Anyway, chaos is
what?
The opposite of order. Anyway, as I was saying, but, like,
often
I have
mistaken for evil as well.
I have this, like, thing about emotionality. Our culture has equated emotional strength with emotional non-expression, which I feel is, like, the wrong direction completely.
Absolutely.
And, like, this kind of ties into my larger critique of, like, what is toxic masculinity? Yes, I just said that word. Yes, we're going there today.
Yeah!
But, like, it's not saying that masculinity is inherently toxic. It's talking about the elements of masculinity that produce toxic things. And one of that is, like, emotional repression. This whole narrative that, like, men should not express emotions. Men should be emotionally strong, and they should keep control of their emotions at all time. Emotionality is for women, and it's a sign of weakness. Therefore, don't be weak. Therefore, don't show emotions. The end result of that is you have a bunch of dudes who, like, repress all their emotions, and they repress and repress and repress and repress and repress until one day
they snap.
It explodes, and and a lot of people are caught in the crossfire.
Yep.
And that's where bad things start to happen. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about toxic masculinity, is we're talking about the parts of masculinity that make being a man suck. And that make being around men suck. And that make people like me say things like, all men are garbage. Obviously, I don't believe true in my heart that every man I've ever met is a garbage person.
Right.
But, like, an offshoot of that is that, like, I'm a little slower to trust men, and I'm a little slower to like, it takes a lot more for me to feel safe around a man than it does for me to feel safe around a woman.
Yeah.
And that's not fair, and I understand that's not fair, but it's like a survival mechanism that I've been trained to do my entire life that a lot of other women have also been trained to do for a lot of their lives.
That's like...
And like as a gay woman, that gets magnified. If I were a woman of color, I guarantee that would be magnified. Yeah. Like I do have the privilege of being white, so, you know, like it's not quite as bad as other people in other situations. Mm-hmm. But like that's where it comes from. And I agree with you that it's not fair, but it's what happens.
Yeah, because, like, there's this entire narrative also in society where, like, if something happens to a woman, she often gets blamed for it. And it's like, you can't tell women to trust men if you are also simultaneously in other situations being like, oh, that woman wasn't constantly watching herself around.
Well, it's just like, it's this kind of, like, cognitive dissonance, I guess.
Yes.
Between like what we say we believe and what we actually believe.
Yeah, it's super contradictory.
Nothing pisses me off more than when people say like, oh, you know, like we don't live in a rape culture because everyone knows rape is bad. Obviously, like, and this is an exact example of what I'm talking about. Yes, we all agree that rape is bad. How, and okay, you know what? I'm gonna ask May to throw a trigger warning before this episode.
Because there's some stuff. We're talking about some shit.
We're talking about some shit today. Yeah. And I apologize if this is causing people to be too uncomfortable. Anyway.
Yeah. Feel free, if we're talking about shit, stuff that makes you uncomfortable, just like...
Tune out. We'll get over it eventually.
Right?
Sorry.
But as I was saying, what we don't all agree on what rape is and what causes rape and like what actually... it is. And so like saying, oh, well, everyone already knows rape is bad, so like of course we don't live in a rape culture, that's missing the point. That's missing like the ways in which we make apologies for rapists, the ways in which we don't acknowledge rape as rape. Mm-hmm. And like it's so much more complicated than just like the belief that rape is bad. It's like the unwillingness to prosecute sexual assault in a lot of cases. There's just so much to it.
Ruining this boy's life with your rape allegations when, like...
You know whose life... Okay, like, you know whose life has not been ruined? Roman Polanski.
Roman Polanski. Yup.
Like, this place.
If you want an example, and this is like, you know, left-leaning liberal Hollywood elites will rally behind this guy, of course.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so fucking disgusting.
It's really gross.
And so like that's kind of what we're talking about when we talk about toxic masculinity and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's what makes these conversations so frustrating to have, is that you just have people who hear toxic masculinity and all they think is like,
all
you think
masculinity
being
is
a man
toxic.
is toxic. It's like, no, just like the toxic parts.
Yeah. Like toxic masculinity is like a subset of...
It's a bubble inside the bubble of what constitutes traditional masculinity.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier in this series, which was weeks ago for us, maybe even months at this point. There's like a rich backstory going on right now. But this is hilarious. These guys are currently at war with the Nocturnus clan, which had turned to technology as opposed to these guys and their non-technological ways. And they're losing the war now, so they've decided to call upon the Chaos Emeralds. Mm-hmm. But then, in their desperation to get to the Master Emerald and use its power, they kill all these little Chow.
Oh, no.
And so the Guardian of the Chow shows up, and he ain't happy. So he absorbs all the power, and he becomes the big monster, which we're about to see.
Okay, that... Actually, because like I don't know what's happening. Like I never really understood.
Well,
the
like a lot of that
this.
Isn't actually talked about in this game. All we see is this. You know, he shows up, he's mad because they killed him, and now he's gonna absorb all the power.
Become the ultimate being or whatever.
Perfect chaos, and so he wipes out this tribe, and it is believed that he wipes out the other tribe as well, the Nocturnus clan. But what actually happens is the Nocturnus clan gets like banished to the Twilight
Realm.
This is all in the Sonic RPG that's available for Nintendo DS. Probably if you can find it on eBay or something.
No,
The BioWare RPG.
Oh
Just
my god.
So yeah, rich Sonic the Hedgehog plots.
Minor that thing where you distract yourself from. Deadpool does it a lot.
Aside?
Close. It starts with D. Jesus Christ, finding words are the worst sometimes.
Minor deviation? I have no idea.
I'll find it eventually. I'll yell it out later.
Sure.
I really want a Tikal plushie.
Apropos of nothing. Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I'm willing to bet
Character
that you can
design
find
is
something on
so
Etsy.
cute. She's got her big adorable eyes. She has little
doesn't look
flopsy armsies.
terribly...
Digression, sure. Thank you. There we go.
It doesn't look terribly great in that particular lighting scheme.
Yeah,
so it's all red and shit.
But like she's cute and soft. I like it.
Sonica. I've seen this scene in
News Cruise, I guess.
I've seen this scene in Japanese many times.
Good thing you're okay.
I love the zoom in on the sad face and then just like, good thing you're okay.
Did you hear that line? It's just like, good thing you're okay.
We gotta go after the last
Which like
emerald.
sounds like they kind of cut him off mid-sentence, which is hilarious.
Oh my god. I love how like obvious the upgrades are. Like you look and you're just like, that doesn't belong on that character design.
Oh, it gets so much worse in Sonic Adventure 2.
Uh,
And I cannot wait for that because they just look ridiculous by the end of the game.
there was like a rant about how awful it is to like complete Sonic Adventure 2, like full on completion is complete.
I believe it. I never did that actually. Like that was one of the games that I did not get all of the things.
Yeah, because you have to collect everything as well as doing everything.
Do all
in the
the
perfect
A ranks,
timing.
and that was like the impossible
Impossible.
part of it.
Yeah, because it wasn't just about going fast. It was about beating enemies and getting rings,
Getting
and all
the
that shit.
points, and that was like the most punishing rank system
Yeah.
that the series ever had too.
I think that Sonic should always go fast. That you should get some bonuses for collecting
Well,
stuff.
I actually
but-
think that like the ranking system is one of the most ingenious things they ever added to the Sonic series. But I'll talk about that more when we're actually playing a game that has that.
Yeah.
But like it ties into my whole thing that I'm sure I've mentioned before, that like Sonic, everyone kind of misunderstands Sonic games
Yeah.
and
About like what makes a good Sonic game.
what makes a good Sonic game and like what games Sonic should be compared to when talking
Yeah.
about Sonic games in general.
Look, it's a
Because
tornado too.
everyone compares them to like other platformers, and I understand why, because it has all the tropes of a platformer.
Yeah.
But I find that they're like, especially the later games, are much more akin to racing games, where it's about learning the tracks, where it's about like understanding where your obstacles are, where to turn, where to do this, where to do that, and to like turn that into a seamless, like perfect run.
Yeah.
And the ranking system, okay, I guess I'm talking about this now. The ranking system like incentivizes that. It gives you like something to achieve, like a reason to want to learn how to do the levels better
Perfectly,
and
yeah.
faster. And like I think that was an excellent addition. I
Gives
loved
it
it.
replayability.
But it was also very unforgiving in the first game.
Yeah.
In the first
I
game
believe
in
that.
which it appeared.
I remember loving this fucking cutscene. As like, I remember every second of this cutscene.
This is like where it gets super dark because you have to
Yeah.
like these people are dead. They are just straight
They're just
up
fucking murdered.
dead.
Just like murder time.
All right, so like those things like weigh
Oh, shit.
300 pounds each. The manhole
Oh,
covers,
everybody in that building. People
Everyone's,
are
like-
pouring out of these buildings.
and like there's
guaranteed.
absolutely no way. We saw like a kid on the street. He was just running along. There was like a fat guy
Yeah.
who fell over and like did a duck and cover with his head.
Yeah, these people are dead. Oh
Like-
yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it's super dark. Like how
Shit.
do you even repair from this? This
This
is
is
like
the darkest timeline.
oh interesting. I just thought of something.
What?
Life is strange. But anyway, we're gonna end this episode really here in the middle of
Right.
this cutscene.
We'll like
Until
start it
next
right back
time,
up.
Yeah, I'm Jocelyn the boss.
And I'm the
And
bear.
we'll see you next episode very quickly. Goodbye.
Bye.